Hello, it's day 12 of our archaeological dig at High Rochester Roman Fort. Day 11 we didn't shoot any video because it was the weekend and only Richard was over here with the students, and it rained for part of the day as well, so it wasn't worthy of taking much video. But today, yes, we shall. I'll go around the trenches, but first I want to show you an interesting stone. Right, well look at this. It's really interesting. The drystone waller is working just up the road from us and pulled this out the wall whilst doing repairs. And he asked, "Oh, we found an interesting stone. Is this anything potentially of interest? Is it Roman?" And you take one look at it and say, "Yes, well, yes it is." And it's a small Roman altar. It's very difficult to read the inscription. There is something scratched into it. I think with some very careful cleaning and some good photography, we might be able to read some of it. But Lindsay Allison Jones is coming tomorrow, so she might be able to tell us a bit more. But you see how tiny it is. And these are very common altars of this size in the north, on Hadrian's Wall and such like. And they are usually dedicated to a kind of mother goddess. It's labelled VETERIS. I'm not saying this one is, but there are many examples. Most examples on small altars are to VETERIS, and they are fairly crudely crafted, probably by an individual regular soldier out of local sandstone. And the inscriptions are usually quite crude. The spellings aren't great. So many variations on the spelling, but they'd say something like Deo dedicated to VETERIS, and they'd give the name of the person who's dedicated the inscription, sometimes with the cohort that he belonged to, and sometimes it would give the Roman abbreviations, letters in Latin, reading willingly and deservedly fulfilled his vow. But altars like this, sometimes they come from temples, but more commonly they are from household shrines. So they're a lovely thing. It's a lovely little thing anyhow. You look around the museums on Hadrian's Wall, places like the Great North Museum or Chester's Museum, which is great. There's many dozens of these examples. Sometimes they have carvings on the side, sacrificial knife blades and things like that. But they're fairly plain, the small ones like this. Religion on Hadrian's Wall on the frontier is very interesting. You have, well, it's obviously polytheistic. You have many hundreds of different gods and goddesses, deities, and it's somewhat of a melting pot for that, having auxiliary troops from the frontier regions of the Roman Empire. So it doesn't just reflect the standard Roman religions, like the Roman pantheon of Jupiter, Juno, Minerva, Mars, all of those kind of gods and goddesses, which are represented, but far more commonly are things like Celtic and Germanic gods and goddesses, especially Celtic gods and goddesses. And they would be usually very regional and sometimes specific to one place. And you often get them conflated as well. If the Romans were here for many hundreds of years, you often get the Roman army adopting Celtic cults. So you get conflated altars. So say if you get the local war god Cocydius, and they look to a Roman equivalent like Mars, so you get simply a conflation, Marti stroke Coccydii, dash Coccydii hyphen. So they mix the attributes and turn it into kind of one dedication. Very superstitious people, coming a long way from home. But many of the auxiliary troops were the Celtic nations, of course, from Gaul or the Low Countries. Even Spain was, large portions of it were Celtic culture. Yeah, so it's very good. Well, Trench 4 is looking quite interesting. It's developing a little here. This was on the geophysics. We've got a nice rectangular building, corners, corner, and then going down to, we thought, that corner with a wall, something like a wall extending down there as well. But another wall has turned up now in here, and it looks rather odd. It looks like you've got two faces like facing each other going that way. So could it be something like a drainage channel? Might explain why you've got that arrangement. But it's early days, so we'll see. Right, so this is trench 3, and the fellas in here are just excavating more of this central area, trying to level it out a little. You do have this undulation in here with clay, and then into fill, and then rising up to clay, back down to fill, rising up to clay again, until it reaches the rampart of the first annex, I suppose. You can see the fill going in there, yeah, still. It's still deepening. More burning.
Yeah, and that line over there.
Yeah. Less finds now, I think, it's fair to say. Yeah.
Just bits and pieces.
Oh, that's going well. I think, yeah, you're getting through that fill layer there, aren't you? Getting down onto the clay now. Yeah, great. Well, we'll just take it back and see what's revealed. This is trench 2, the main trench, and Barry's been extending on the area this big sondage that he put in the other day with the drain in the bottom deep down, there's a jumble of rock over the top. We excavated more of it last year down there just beyond our trench, and we found it did have rubble on the top and then capstones with a channel underneath, typical Roman drain. But in this trench, Barry's extended this now with Maddie and found this linear feature that was running along there. It's very hard to see now, but there is a linear feature running along, and we do have a jumble of stones on the top. So that's something we can explore, but that is a pretty substantial feature, it would appear at this point. And extending northwards from it, this is the potential bread oven at the corner of building 1. So Barry's just cleaning up the potential terminal, assumed terminal for building 1, and trying to find what the relationship is between building 1, the bread oven, that linear spread, and if there's anything beyond. How's it going, Barry?
Pretty well, pretty well. I think once we photograph it, we can start taking this down, because we seem to have a pretty clear edge. So
yeah.
Possible oven here, but we're still too high up.
Oh yeah. And there's a little potential hearth within the bread oven there, maybe a little secondary hearth.
This sort of burnt sandstone.
Squared, yeah. So we'll have to explore that.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Yes, good stuff. Right, well this is our cobbled surface that Ben's been excavating in here. What's the latest on this then, Ben?
I've moved to the other side, come on the side of these flags. This was all compacted clay like that, so I've dug down the side of this wall.
Yeah.
Found it is sitting on another cobbled surface.
Oh yeah, lower cobbles.
Appears to be the same one that's over there. So most of this is clay here, so we'll work straight through it and connect it all.
Yeah, great. And this secondary building is above everything else. It's above the compact clay that this building is below. So that's definitely a later build, and it's poorer quality rock in its composition. And Elaine here is finding, let's just go round, adjacent to it, like a lower level of rock. It looks like fairly flat pieces, perhaps from a wall, lower down. So I think what we'll do now, we've photographed that wall, we might take that later wall out completely tomorrow and see if it's sitting on an earlier, well, see if there's an earlier footing underneath the clay that it has been built upon. I think it's possible. All around here has cobbles, lower cobbles all over the place. We were just taking a look at the interior of that building. We call it Building 2. And the floor in it is quite interesting. Now, I know the human mind loves to fill in the blanks and create patterns, but can you see a potential circle within that floor? Around that edge there. Now, the centre part is partly infilled, but could that be a hearth? We know that military annexes, one of the primary functions must be for industry of sorts. So could there be a hearth or kiln or something like that in there? That might be worth exploring. This is our road surface running adjacent to our row of Roman buildings out from the west gate of the fort. And there's definitely different levels of phasing in here. Lower cobbles and then a mixed poorer upper surface. But where Jenny was working along here, and she's found some smaller metalling in packing clay. It's like a top dressing, we think. It's quite interesting, but there's just an isolated pocket of it surviving there. Jenny's doing some more work around here. What have you revealed here, Jenny?
Well, it looks as if this large stone here continued on, and whatever this pedestal was, and whatever was based on it, goes all the way around in a square like this.
Wow. So that's the corner of our Roman building, of Building 2, is it? No, it's Building 1, sorry. That's the corner of Building 1, right? And it was thought that the area between the walls along here is open fronted, but it has all of this hard standing packed at the entrance. So it doesn't look like there's a return in there. So that's a very big slab if that is kind of robbed out and you've got the ghosts of the bedding for where that big cornerstone was sitting. But it doesn't look at this stage like there's any walling, a return coming this way to join up with that wall, but there is cobbling, and again there's phasing, isn't there, going on here?
Well, this area is lower, and you've got this sitting on top of it, and then above it you've got this really heavily, very closely packed surface, which has got this grey, mucky, charcoaly padding in it, which is completely different to the surface that was in amongst the stones here.
So it could be either this is open fronted as well as open sided onto the road, onto the Roman road, or it could be that in a later phase they've altered it somehow. Very good.